Good morning, welcome back to the One Celtic Fans View this morning. I've just spent the last hour and a half watching a fantastic podcast, and I'll let you hear a little bit of it, and I'll put the link, that'll be the first comment in the description. Go and watch this podcast. It's a fairly new podcast. We've only got 400 odd subscribers. Fair play to the lads who done the interview. Brilliant interview for the guys, and give them a subscribe. But before we go on to that, there is some Celtic news to talk about. This man is on his way to Celtic. It has been confirmed. Brendan Rodgers confirmed that he will get to Scotland in the next 24 hours and have his medical before a 1.3 million deal is signed for the 25-year-old Yamada. And just thought I would put that down the bottom, just for banter more than anything. But anyway, Brendan Rodgers admitted after the 2-0 win last night, it was absolutely brilliant, wasn't it? Celtic are getting back on track. It's what you would expect. We're back to where we were. I listened to the interview before the game last night. I listened to the interview for when we played Manchester City around about the same time of year. It was the 23rd of July last year. And we were in fine form that night. And I wanted to check out where we were then, last year, compared to where we are this year. Because I think we're all in an agreement that it's not been the best start to the pre-season games. Obviously, a lot of the more experienced players have been away. And this was really the first game, so it would give us an indication of where the club are at, where the players are at. And to know if any of the B-team players are going to be good enough to take the step up. And I think that we can all agree that there's quite a few of them are. Dane Murray for one, absolutely brilliant. Johnny Kenny, if you watched the live last night after the match, the reaction video, I think that Johnny Kenny, if you're Adam Ida, you're looking over your shoulder and you're like, this guy could take my place on the team any time. He's got the ability. Do you know, Adam Ida missing those 2 goals. If Adam Ida scores the 2 goals, it's a different scenario altogether. And I think once the business end starts of the season in a couple of weeks' time, I think once we get to that, Adam Ida will know that he'll up his game. You know, he knows it's still pre-season. And I think that he will up the pace a bit and he'll start banging in the goals for fun. But anyway, we've got another striker coming into the club. Is got his medical over the next couple of days. Brendan Rodgers says, well, look at him, we've lost goals, so we need to replace that. We've lost goals in Kyogo Furiashi, we've lost goals in Kuhn. Hopefully this can be one of a number of players that we bring into the squad in that aspect, says Brendan Rodgers. Talking about Yamada, he said he's got intensity, he's got work rate, something that the scouts have seen in terms that the club are looking for. We will bring in players to develop players for now. Even though he's a bit older, he can probably give us that little bit of intensity and pressure, said Brendan Rodgers. I need to look at him, and I'll need to look at him when he comes in, and hopefully he can do well. The idea was to bring him in, assess him. He's a strong boy, but we want to add to our front line. The business isn't finished. A lot of people talking about Odsonne Edouard. I did a poll, said, would you bring Edward back? He was asked about it, and it looks like Edward has been put on the transfer list by Crystal Palace. And Brendan Rodgers said, I'm not worried about a big name. It's about the collective of the team. Big names don't always give you what you need. This team needs hunger, goals, work rate, intensity. Big names don't always give you that. It's about big players. Odsonne Edouard hasn't been on my radar. Oof. Celtic fans can breathe a sigh of relief, because there was a lot of Celtic fans getting their knickers in a twist, as they say, to say, I'm not really wanting Odsonne Edouard back. He let us down in an important season. And Brendan Rodgers says, no, it's not a player that we've been looking at. There's lots of players linked with us. Odsonne hasn't been on my radar, to be fair. I obviously know about him and I know about the player, but I'm looking for a player who will fit into the structure of the team. Brendan Rodgers was thrilled with the second half performance of the team, as we all were. I thought the irony wasn't lost on me when Brendan Rodgers in Portugal on the 67th minute brought in a squad of young Scottish-based players. The irony wasn't lost on me, Brendan. It was a little nod to what happened in Lisbon in 1967. It was a nod to the heritage of the club. It was absolutely fucking tremendous. Sorry for swearing at this time in the morning, but that's how I feel about it. It was Brendan Rodgers at his best. Elite club manager level stuff. Do you know, he made sure that we played it fast. The first half was brilliant. Rio Hatate getting his goal, getting the penalty was about, the keeper nearly saved it. I think Hatate was like, fuck, oh, nearly, oh, nearly holding my head in the hands kind of stuff. Adam Ida should have scored a couple of goals. The pass from Kieran Tierney to land right on the feet of Adam Ida. We've not had anybody that's done that for a long time at Celtic. Do you know, that diagonal ball to land right on a striker's feet was top level stuff, and that's why Kieran Tierney was on 120 grand a week at Arsenal. That's why Juventus were in for him. That's why the other clubs were in for Kieran Tierney. Do you know, top level players do top level things, and I thought it was a brilliant first half. Had everything that we expect. Brendan Rodgers, talking about the second half, said it was polished, it was controlled, but possession in the first half was brilliant. And we continued that in the second half. There was a lot of B-team players that have walked out there, and I think Brendan Rodgers must have given one of the most emotional speeches before that game, letting those lads know that they're coming on in the 67th minute in Portugal. A wee statement from Brendan Rodgers going, we did it before with Scottish players. This is your turn to shine, lads. Go on and show. They had a £19 million striker playing against us. You know, I've seen people saying, oh, it was the third team, it was the second team. They had a £19 million striker playing against us, and he didn't manage to score. Rodgers told Celtic TV that the performance was outstanding. We made another step up in regards of fitness and tactical ideas. It was brilliant as well. Absolutely amazing that Brendan Rodgers changed the formation of the... let's get Brendan on the screen actually. Brendan Rodgers changing the formation of the team this season, going from a 4-2-3-1 scenario. You can understand why he's trying to get other players into the club. You can understand why he's trying to get other strikers in, because you can then use one of those strikers as the sort of the midfielder that will be sitting just behind. You've seen we're going to a kind of 4-4-2 at times, you know, it gives us that ability. Brilliant that we're changing it up. Where we're getting a bit stagnant, I think everyone will agree. 2 years into any manager, last year people are just going, do you know what, if you just go to a back five, if you go to a back six, Celtic can't get past us. Well, now that we're going to have an extra man in the middle of the park when it comes to strikers, and then you're going to have your wingers going up, and then you're going to have two midfielders going up, it changes the need for the change of point of attack, a Brendan Rodgers famous phrase, to come back to the defence. That doesn't need to happen as much with this change of formation, which I think is just absolutely fantastic. Anyway, Anthony Joseph, talking about players, obviously there's players that are going to leave the club. Dane Murray lined up last night. I think he's one. Benji played beside Callum McGregor, absolutely phenomenal. If that's the position that Brendan's going to play him in, I think it's a bit of a masterstroke. We are still James Forrest. You've got to say James Forrest. Is James Forrest our Luka Modric? Do you know, is he our... He just keeps on going. I mean, he played that first half and the intensity and everything that you would expect, James. He doesn't look like he's coming into the last year of his contract at Celtic. Do you know, do Celtic give him another year's contract? Do they give him another 2 years contract? Or do they say, or does James say, no, I'm going to hang up my boots? I think James Forrest could go on for another couple of years. A lot of people give Brendan Rodgers stick and Scott Brown's stick when Brendan came in the first time, and people said, Brownie's legs are gone. He's gone. He's done as a player, and he extended. You know, he just kept on going. James Forrest is in the same position. Anyway, Johnny Kenny was involved with the goal in the 72nd minute of the game last night. Fantastic piece of play by Johnny Kenny, holding the ball up, hits it with the outside of his foot to the. He sees where Luke McCowan is going to go. That run through from the midfield, and it was a fantastic pass, absolutely fantastic pass. And Luke McCowan showing what he can do smoothly slipping the ball into the back of the net. Now, before we go for it this morning, obviously the big news is that we have the medical book for Sin Yamada, but there was a podcast that came that was shown to me, and I want to show you this podcast. Where is it? It's on this one. Let's listen to this, and I'm going to put the link. I'll put the link in the description of the video because it's a fantastic podcast, and fair play to the Off the Underside podcast for getting this. Fantastic, absolutely fantastic podcast. Give the guys a follow. They're currently on 814 subscribers. Let's get them up to 1,000 subscribers, and hopefully this will help them get monetized the channel. Because fair play to them for getting this interview. So let's listen to a little bit of this because it's all about a player that Celtic have been linked with for a while.
September the 1st. So they need to get the right players in. They need to see who else leaves. Nicholas Kuhn's gone. Which other wingers do they need to get rid of? Because you don't want to bring in more and then get rid of Yang and Tilio and Palma.
And the reason he's talking about that, he's been talking about the fact that Yang knows of the interest from Norwich and he wants to explore the move. Now we're in a position where we can't allow really more wingers to move, can we? But there is one winger. It's like Celtic have gone through several players. Remember, there was a Spanish player that we were looking at, but had a shoulder injury at the last transfer window. It looks like we've moved on from him. He's obviously moved to another club, but
as well. So there's a real balancing act, and I don't envy the people that have to do these jobs and have to decide on how they work out a squad and work out transfers. It's much better being on our side of just trying to find out the new. Than actually making the decisions, and being part of the football negotiations, which are very complicated. But from what I've heard, the indications are that Balikwisha would like to join Celtic if Celtic can get a deal over the line with Royal Antwerp.
Now, I'm going to leave that there and go and check out that video. In fact, what I'll do is I'll put the video up here somewhere on the screen so that you can just go and click straight onto that video here. And on that note, have an absolutely fantastic day, Celtic fans, wherever you are, all around the world.